Hello everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com. This is our Feel Good Friday series, and today in this class, on this Friday, we're going to be doing a full body stretch. Stretching out, oh God, when I say full body, our backs, our shoulders, our necks. It will be nice and slow, because in order to stretch properly, we have to kind of take things much slower. It's an opportunity to give yourself that gift for getting through the week. It's your gift to prepare yourself for the weekend. There's just multiple reasons why Friday's a day to take it, to do a class like this. So we will begin with, as I always start my classes, with centering. So just take a moment, sit up nice and tall, and bring yourself into the zone. So into the moment, into this space of being a little indulgent. This is as if you're going to a salon, or you're going to sit in a whirlpool or a sauna, and you're here for this purpose of rejuvenation, of relaxation. So bring your mind's eye right there, and then let your eyes close if they're not already. And start to breathe in and out, concentrating on bringing the breath into the rib cage. So rather than belly breathing, but it's not absolutely necessary, but if you can bring it a little bit higher, that would be, you'll feel slightly different, a little bit more relaxed. So let the breath flow in and out naturally. And let's take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. Now from here, we're going to come onto our backs. So starting our practice on our backs. And once you're on your back, stretch through the arms, stretch through the legs, stretch through the entire body, feeling through the feet and the arms, and work your way into the little nooks and crannies of our bodies where we might not even realize, oh my God, that's very tight, until you stretch. So take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Feel Good Friday is also about giving love to yourself, self-love. And this is a hug, not just to stretch out your body, but also to give yourself a hug, to embrace yourself. And then take your arms out to the sides, and either to the sides like wings or into cactus shape arms, which will open the shoulders a little bit more. Bring the knees forward until your knees and hips are in line. And we're going to squeeze the legs together. This is going to be just a little bit of an oblique. I said complete stretch, but this is a little bit of a strengthener with your oblique muscles. Bring the knees down just about halfway or less so. And then inhale back up, and then exhaling over to the left. Squeezing the legs together, you can flex the feet or however you want your feet to be. Inhale back to center and then to the right. Keeping both shoulders resting on the ground. That's inhale back up and then to the left. This time, allow the knees to drop all the way down to the left, coming into a spinal twist. And if you want, now you can open up the arms and take that left hand on your rib cage, the front, the sides, wherever you want to place it. And then start to breathe into the rib cage. Take a deep breath and feel the hand move. Especially you'll feel it in the right side of the rib cage. Inhaling and exhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120
And then lift your legs back up, and let's let the knees now drop to the right. And let the knees drop all the way down, arms out to the sides, and take your right hand on your left rib cage, side of the rib cage. And feel the movement of that breath as you inhale and exhale. As the hands will actually sense the stretching, the fullness, the pushing. And then let's come back to center. Let's hug your knees again. Little rocks. And place your feet flat on the ground. And take your arms, rest them next to your sides, and open the feet a little bit wider than your hip joints, and walk your heels till they tap the tip of your middle finger. And just keep your legs right there and just let your knees knock together for just a moment. Take a breath in, lift through the heart. Lift through the lower back. And then exhale, actually the heart too in a moment, and press your lower back into the ground. So a few of these. Keep the knees together, because then you can actually feel the lower back lift, be a little bit more of a lift. You can actually sense it more. And then exhale, press the lower back into the ground. A nice position for lower back stretching is to just lie like this with the knees knocking together. That in itself will help if there's any tension or tightness in your lower back. Let's come back to a neutral spine and let the knees open. Your feet are in the perfect position for the bridge. Arms resting next to your sides. Take a breath in, arch your lower back, and then exhale, press your lower back into the ground. And then I want you to peel yourself off the ground slowly, starting with the lower back, working your way possibly as far as the upper back, depending on your flexibility in your spine, but maybe, and you might not be able to. And then take your arms, float them back behind you. And then take an inhale at the top, and let's hold for a moment, and then exhale. So there's a little bit of a lifting as you inhale, and then exhaling, just a tiny release down, but not coming all the way down. Inhaling, lifting, and exhaling, releasing. Inhaling, lifting, exhaling, releasing. Very gentle stretch of your chest, your stomach, your solar plexus, your hips, your pelvis. And then take an inhale and exhale, slowly lower yourself back down. Let the arms float next to your sides. And this time place the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open into this Baddha Konasana. This is a hip opener. And your hands can rest on your belly if you'd like, or on your rib cage, or into the cactus shape arms, where the arms are in a 90 degree angle. The elbows are bent. And then take a breath in and feel the rib cage expand. And as you exhale, those tummy muscles will pull in. As they pull in, notice how your lower back pushes towards the ground, stretching out that lower back. That's inhale, arch your lower back again. And then exhale, press the lower back into the ground. When our lower back is relaxed, we feel like a different person, because otherwise it's tight, tense, and it impacts every part of your body. Let's take the hands to the outside of those legs, help those knees together. Re-hug your knees into your chest. And feel free to bring your forehead towards your knees to stretch out the length of your spine. And just hold, and even if you're pretty flexible, you can even grab hold of those feet. Either the toes or the outer edges of the feet. Bring yourself even closer. This feels good. And breathe in and breathe out. And then let's lower your head back down. Let's reach your legs up to the ceiling. Squeeze the legs together, flex the feet, take your hands and slide them all the way up your legs. They can stop anywhere on your legs. You can even slide them as high as your toes or the backs of your ankles. and then draw your feet towards your forehead. So everyone's different here in their flexibility. You might not come very far. Your legs might be still almost pointing to the ceiling or slightly forward towards your head. But yet if you've been doing this like me for years, your legs can come a little bit further. So don't force this stretch. Just start to explore internally, not with your eyes, your different areas of the body that are starting to feel a little bit looser. Where do you feel tightness? This is where closing the eyes and breathing allows you to explore the areas that need extra attention. Soften the shoulders. This is a nice thing to do before you go to sleep at night. So it's a good feeling Friday, but you could do this any day of the week or in the morning, afternoon, whenever. But it can be done at any point in the day. Let's bring the legs back up towards the ceiling, and let's open them up wider than our hips, and then bend the knees. And get the knees so they're outside your shoulders, they're outside your shoulders. Hands either inside your feet or outside. Now, not all of us are able to grab hold of the feet and still flex the feet. So what I would suggest is that you take your arms, wrap them behind your knees. But this is a hip opener. This is called Happy Baby. So take a breath in and lift the tailbone up, and then exhale, press down with the hands, and take your tailbone, push it down towards the mat. And let's take another breath in as if you're being lifted up by your ankles, and then exhaling, then you're being pushed back down. So if I was standing over you, I'd be pushing my hands into your feet, the soles of your feet, and pushing you down. And then you're going to inhale, lift up a little bit higher, and then exhale, press back down. And then bring your knees back together, cross your ankles, and either roll up from lying down or come to one side and roll back up. And let's swing around onto our hands and knees. So slow and just gentle today. And let's press back into our child's pose. Child's pose is where you sit back towards your heels. You might not touch your heels. You might. It all depends on flexibility, and not meaning that you're inflexible. It just means you might not be at that point where you can actually get that far yet. And from here, I want you to actually take your hands, place them together as if you're in prayer, or it's another word for it is a karate chop, but with the hands together. Slide them forward. You can take a peek at the hands as they slide forward. And go as far as you can, and then take your bottom, press your bottom towards your heels, and press your outer edges of your hands into the ground. Forehead resting on the ground. And take a breath in. And take a breath out. Feeling into where you're experiencing the stretch here. We're here for a few breaths, holding the breaths longer, holding the stretches longer. Sometimes it's really nice to just give yourself permission to relax, to take it easy. We live in a culture where that is not so easy. We feel like we should, to benefit from anything, you should be working fast and furious, and that's not always the case. So from here, what you're going to do is keep your hands exactly where they are, just slide them a little further forward, lift your bottom off your heels. Forehead on the ground, and open the elbows a little bit wider, but keep the hands together. Forehead now back on the ground, and pick your hands off the ground until the hands are just behind your head. Thumbs are pointing towards your back. And you're going to take a breath in, lift up a little bit, and then exhale. Press your bottom towards your heels, said towards. It doesn't mean they will even touch in this position. And press your elbows down as you open up those shoulders. So now we're stretching out the shoulders as well as our lower backs. And take a breath in. And take a breath out. Keep breathing in 2 more breaths, feeling into this. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, release the hands back to the ground. Slide your hands towards you. Let yourself settle back into your child's pose. Hands now separated, shoulder distance apart. Come into your tabletop. Ooh, that feels nice, huh? Do a few little circles of the hips. Now you can include the shoulders if you like. I'm going to just hula hoop my hips. And you can start in any direction because we'll be just reversing. And let's go in the other direction of the hip circles. So this is a more what they call dynamic stretch, when you're moving your body around, you're wiggling, swaying, all these circling, lubricating those joints, and then come back into stillness. And from here, you're going to take your right leg, reach it back behind you, as if you're imprinting your foot into the wall behind you. Make sure both arms are evenly distributing your weight, and you're just staying here for a moment. Crown of the head reaches forward. No need to do anything crazy here. You're still working your back without having to pick up your opposite hand. Then take a breath in and bend your right leg. So now the right foot is imprinting on the ceiling. And then take your right knee, cross it behind your left knee, and place it how you'll have both knees on the ground. So you're doing this twisted kind of pretzel child's pose, and you're going to sit back. So I'll show you what it looks like, just in case you're wondering how it looks. So your right leg is crossed over your left, and you're going to sit back. Not on your bottom, but as if you're doing a child's pose. So your bottom presses towards the heels again. Reach your arms forward. So this is a stretch for your lower back as well, but also your glutes, inner thighs, my favorite stretch of all times. And then take your hands over to the left. So you're on a little diagonal. And then take a breath in, lift up a little bit, lengthen through the spine, and then let your bottom press towards your heels, especially that right side. And your gaze can be down, you can let your head just flop, or you can look towards the left side of that left shoulder to give you, it doesn't matter, whatever you feel you need at this moment. But what I want you to do is close the eyes and bring your mind's eye right into your lower back, into your glute muscles, all these areas of your body that are saying, oh, that feels interesting. All the sensations that you're creating from this stretch. And then walk your hands forward and then come all the way back up onto all fours and just actually take your right leg and bring it back, and then just do a few little sways of the hips. From here, so we have another leg. Take your left leg, reach it back behind you, and flex your left foot. So you wake up that left leg. Make sure that you're distributing the weight evenly in your hands. If crown of the head reaches forward. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bend your left leg. And then cross it behind your right knee. And then both knees are touching the ground, and that left foot touches down as well. And you're sitting back, so just keep adjusting yourself until you're like, okay. And keep pushing back until you feel sensations in the back. Not painful, but nice, just stretchy. Maybe a little bit of soreness. And you might notice one side one side feels different from the other, which is going to happen. That's natural. Now from here, I want you to take your left bottom cheek towards your right heel And then walk your hands to the right. Actually, you'll do this in this position on a diagonal. And now stretch that left bottom cheek towards that left heel. Let your head drop or turn your gaze to that right shoulder. And you riding your breath, feeling into this stretch. Noting, oh, this, I can feel my hip, I can feel, all the different areas that in your body that get very, very short, the muscles, the tendons, the connective tissue that has shortened because of what we do with our lives, how we spend our lives. So here we are, we're giving them a nice stretch out. And maybe, another thing is that sometimes you exercise, you do a class or do it in a certain type of exercise and you don't stretch out properly. You're going to feel stuff there. Let's come back up and let's untwist those legs. Let's walk your hands a little bit further. Make sure wrists are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Let's curl the toes under and let's press into our downward dogs. This is a nice stretch after we just did that. It's pretzel downward child's pose. Twisted child's pose. In your downward dog, do anything you wish. You can bend and straighten. You can shake your head no. Now, some of us cannot do downward dogs, so if you can do a downward dog, just stay there. If you can't, because of wrist problems or whatever it might be, take extended child's pose, and that's exactly what I'm in now, so I'm not coming off my knees. And that's, or if you can only do a downward dog for a few breaths, then come back. And let's just wiggle around, loosen up our spine, loosen up our bottoms, loosen up our knees. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, walk your hands towards your feet. So you come into a standing position at the back of the mat, and take the opposite hand to the opposite elbow. And let yourself hang here for a moment. Knees can be bent, soft, and some of you can even straighten the legs. Drop your head. Soften the shoulders down, even though you're hanging here. How do you do that? Well, you just draw them down. You'll adjust, and you'll notice how it feels. And if you're a swayer, if that feels good, you can sway from side to side. Little gentle sways. And then come back to center. Release the hands from your elbows. Take a breath in. Root down with your feet. Bend your knees. And I want you to roll up. Ragdoll roll. So this is a nice, nurturing, loving stretch and strengthener. And then reach your arms back as if you're trying to touch behind you. You're not going into anything intense. It's more like I end up calling this a drunken back bend, just because I feel like that's what it looks like. Take an inhale and let's exhale, roll back down. We're going to do another set. So come all the way down. Take your time, no rushing. There's no need to. This is a feel-good day, right? Feel-good Friday. Take a breath in. You bend the knees. You've already rushed enough. Let's roll back up. Just imagine you're on a beach. You're on holiday. You don't need to rush. Let the arms reach back and just lean back. And let's take a breath in. Reach your arms up to the sky. Stretch through those arms. Get up to get nice and tall. Press into the feet. And then exhale, hands to heart. Breathe in, reach your arms up again to the sky. This time exhale, float the arms out to the sides, come all the way down, forward fold. And just shake your head no, shake your head yes. And then walk your hands forward into your downward dog. And stretch. And then walk your feet back. And lower your knees to the ground and come all the way onto your stomachs. We're going to go into a cobra or a sphinx, whatever works for you. A sphinx is where your elbows are on the ground or underneath your shoulders. Those are, I would suggest, for beginners, but otherwise, anybody else can kind of bring the elbows a little bit closer in, squeeze the elbows in towards your sides,
Take a breath in and open up your heart. So what you're doing here is you're squeezing your bottom cheeks. You're opening up your chest, and I'll give you the Sphinx version. And gently opening that heart. Opening up the front of the body, stretching that out as you strengthen the back. Keep your gaze down towards your thumbs. And take a breath in. And take a breath out. So if you're used to going to gym classes or classes where everybody's jumping and, you know, you have the instructor, you know, jumping up and down and getting you motivated. Sometimes we need quiet and gentle. That's how I am today, quiet and gentle. Come all the way up onto your hands and knees, and then swing around onto your right hip and swing your legs forward. And let's lower ourselves onto our backs. And once you're on your back, hug your knees into your chest. And we've already done a spinal twist. We've done a lot of stretches. So what we're going to do now, unless you want to do a spinal twist, if you're used to doing it just before Savasana. Otherwise, prepare your body for Savasana. So you have an option. If you're in Savasana now, you have a good 3 minutes of resting. If you want a little bit more, before you come into Savasana, you can hug your knees back into your chest and twist again. Take your knees over to the left. So I'll do the spinal twist version, or you're going to be already in Savasana. And wherever you are at this moment, it's about letting everything settle down. Allowing whatever you worry about on a regular basis to become peripheral. And then drop your knees to the other side if you're doing spinal twists. It's peripheral. And it's also, we worry and we realize how many times we worry about something and then it's not even, it wasn't worth it. All the energy and angst. So we really need to learn how to relax. It's so hard. It's so hard for most of us. Hug your knees into your chest. And then if you're not in Savasana already, let's come into Savasana. Let everything melt into the mat, especially that lower back. Give your lower back permission to chill. Let your shoulders give them permission. Your face, your forehead, your mind. And wherever you might be, if you have been doing Savasana for a few minutes, you might say, I'm ready to come out. So you can roll onto your right side and pause in a fetal shape and then find your way up into your cross-legged, or continue on with your Savasana, not vinyasa. And let yourself, wherever you are now, just feel into this body that's just completely and utterly relaxed. There's nothing left of being, and if your mind is still kind of chattering away, if it is, just keep coming back to the breath. Not necessarily ignore the thoughts, just watch them, but with disinterest, not too interested, detachment. So as I bring my hands in front of my heart to seal this practice, this feel good Friday practice, this stretch, this caring, self-care, taking care of yourself. Thank you so much for being with me. This is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane. And if you like my videos, you can always subscribe just by pressing that button on the right side, and comment. Let me know if you like these classes or if there's anything in particular that you'd like more of, and thumbs up. Other than that, thank you so much. Namaste, everyone. I'll see you soon.